time for you to take a break. And it's time for you to understand when it's time for you to take a break. Your body has been trying to tell you that it wants a break. Your ego has been saying, I want to play. Your spirit has been saying, tag me out. I am exhausted. Us in the spiritual world, we try to make spirituality our whole life, right? We, when we're frustrated, we journal. When we're sad, we go journal and sit by some water. Our idea of fun is making vision boards and, I don't know, doing spiritual things. Do y'all know we are literally overworking our spirit? And I'm going to speak specifically for me that spirituality is my life. It is my whole life. And I was reading, like, I recognized that I needed some time by myself. I was like, oh my God, I'm showing up for my kids. I'm showing up in my relationship for my spouse, trying to be there for him through the tough times that he's going through. I'm showing up for my followers and giving them content every single day. And I thought to myself, I was like, oh my God, I'm not showing up for me. And my spirit is like, I'm a little tired, and the ego is saying, tag me in. The biggest lie that they tell us in the spiritual community is that there is an ego death. There's not an ego death. What happens is the ego learns to take a back seat. And I don't know if you guys have watched Inside Out 2. If you have not watched the Inside Out series, please go watch it, because the way that they explain emotions, when people say that movie was for adults, it most absolutely was. But the anxiety, they weren't trying to get anxiety out of there. You get what I'm saying? Like, get rid of that emotion. They had to sit anxiety down and say, there is a moment for you to come up. And that's what happens with the ego. There is a moment. I don't want us to think about our ego as this terrible thing. Our ego is the part of us that, like, that keeps us going. That's connected to our past and what we used to do. But once we learn how to operate it fully and understand it, then we can let the ego play. Me, I used to be a bottle girl. I used to let my ego play. I had a whole story about popping beans, but I used to do that with cousins and stuff. We went out every single weekend, because before then, though, I was strictly a mother. My whole life revolved around my kids. I never took a break. So the second I let my ego out that cage, baby, it did do too much. Way too much. This just is for somebody to understand. Yes, the ego can be too much sometimes, but once you cage it up for a very long time, for years, it's going to go crazy. Learn how to let your ego out for a little walk sometimes. Like it was a dog. Think of a dog. You got to let your ego out. Take a little stroll with your ego and say, okay, that's enough. We going back home. You got to know when enough is enough. But in spirituality, they try to tell us, like, even drinking. I've been there, guys. I've been thinking that I can have my whole life spirituality. No. This whole spiritual thing, and what I keep coming back to, is about everything in moderation, including your spirit and your ego. It's about everything in duality. Everything having duality. But I want to encourage y'all, because sometimes we don't know why we lashing out on our kids. We don't know why we lashing out on our spouse. Your ego is so upset at you. So upset with you. Can you just let me out and go play? Can I just run around the lawn like for just a little bit? I promise I'm going to come back. I promise I'm going to be good. I'm not going to go too far. We have to have a positive relationship with our ego. That's what this next area of your life is about. Once you go through the ego death, after that, that's just about telling the ego, like I said in the movie Inside Out 2, you got to take a seat back. Like, can you sit down somewhere? You ain't supposed to be controlling this thing 24/7. And that's what it is. In the beginning, your ego is controlling everything, which is where sin comes in it and we act out. So now this area of your life where you've been forgiven of those same sins that you committed out of ego, and because you didn't know what you were doing, and now we're in a new area where we're co-creating with the great creator. You got to have a positive relationship with your ego. Your ego can help you. Your ego will serve you. I remember when The Woman in the Yard came out, I called my man and I said, you know what? I'm going to the movies. And we've been having like this kind of thing where he has friends and I don't. And it's just to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I don't have any friends around me. Like, my friends are in other states. And I got to the point I said, I don't care. I'm going to the movies and I'm going by myself. Y'all, when I tell y'all I was able to come home, my kids start acting out. I had like this huge smile on my face. Like, I didn't care. The movie was so good. Sitting in silence by myself, not yelling at kids, not doing anything. I didn't have to show up for anybody. I sat there, watched the movie, ate my popcorn, drank my little drink, and it was a good time. And I was able to when the 3D starts to attack me, I was able to just smile and say, I ain't even messed up about it. And that's what this is about. It's so important for you guys to have a break and go play. Sometimes when the 3D is attacking you, what do? We want to go meditate. We get silent. We kind of go get in our journal. We do all of these spiritual things, but your ego can serve as a great weapon to when the 3D is trying to attack you. Not in the moment, not letting your ego operate in that moment, but letting your ego play and tagging the spirit out makes the spirit stronger, because your spirit needs rest. Your spirit is like your body. Every part of us, right, needs nutrients. It needs exercise, and it needs rest. Do you hear me? Your mind, your body, and your spirit. Every part of you needs nutrients, exercise, and rest. You are exercising your spirit way too much. You are feeding your spirit. That's amazing. But sometimes we feed it too much. Sometimes we are exercising too much and our spirit is tired. Our spirit wants to rest. I don't know how many times I've told clients this. Hey, your spirit is in overdrive. Can you go do something fun? Because now when the 3D tries to attack you and these old paradigms are trying to pull you back in, you can't fight. Because you've been fighting for so long. The spirit has to fight for so long. When old paradigms are trying to call you back in, and old patterns and old people are trying to pull you back into old timelines that you don't want to be in, and you're telling yourself no longer exist, the spirit will begin to work. The spirit has to fight that, because that is a spiritual thing. But the spirit is tired. The spirit cannot go to war when all it has been doing is fighting, and it does not get rest. It's been up studying. It's been up because a lot of y'all are very knowledgeable. I love that for my clients. A lot of my clients, they are so freaking smart. They love spirituality and they research it and they do all of that. But even then, imagine you studying all night for a test and you falling asleep at the desk. That's what your spirit is doing. We have to take breaks. See, me, I get my appropriate amount of exercise in. I exercise my spirit and my body, but I'm like, my ego wants to play. And the only way sometimes that we could do that is when we put everything to rest. You got to put everything to rest, meaning your spirit, your body, all of that. Okay, I'm going to go do something really, really fun. And I'm going to have a freaking ball doing it. And I'm going to go do it by myself. So this is for y'all. I need y'all to understand. The ego exists, y'all. It ain't went nowhere. But it wants to come out and play. And I remember a client asking me, she was like, I don't know why. Like, I was doing so good on my spiritual journey. And she said, out of nowhere, like, I did some things that I just wasn't so proud of, because you never let your ego play. And when you leave your ego locked up for so long and then you let it out, girl, it is the Tasmanian Devil. It is going to act a fool, which is why like I said, you just got to take it for a little walk sometimes and say, okay, that's it. Reel it back in. And I promise you, your spirit, because when you do that, your spirit is resting, getting the appropriate amount of rest it needs to fight off these past paradigms and these past people, these past timelines. You need to rest. Go play. This is about duality. Your ego ain't went nowhere. So this video, when I'm telling y'all, this is for somebody whose body already has been telling them. You've been so frustrated. You've been trying to deal with your kids. You're just a really soft parent, and you've noticed that you've been yelling a little too much. You've been a little too aggressive, and you just like, oh my God, something is wrong. That's what's wrong. Your ego wants to get out, scratching at the door, saying, please, 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 and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. But in order for you to really stay grounded in the timeline that you want to be in, you have to let your ego play, and you have to let your spirit rest, so that you could be fighting, so that you could stay strong, so that you can be the person that you want to be, always your best, truest self.